They planted the stone here with the genealogy. We were four brothers, not we, who founded this village. Right, so it starts from them and this their descendants. Okay. Now it's all there of whoever did it. Goes down to about 10. By now she has gone to 12 generations. I mean, this is oral history. There is no written record. In fact, when my mother passed away in 2004, I'll tell you the whole story later on when we go that side a bit more. We got a Brahmin to come and do the last rite, which is traditional. So I thought, like all good Brahmins, they would probably keep a record of the families they're working with, right? They were no different to us. They didn't have a bloody clue. So my hopes of trying to establish some sort of historical this thing were cut off. Now, if you can read these, right, and most of it is hidden, my name will be there somewhere there to the bottom, is the four brothers who formed this village. Okay? Now, just now, I don't know if all of you met Jailal Pahan, a Pada Raja. His village is about, how many? Much about 10 kilometers from here. We all migrated from there. Okay. Now, I'll tell you an interesting story. I was very keen on, this historical establishment of where I come from, what. So, this was 2 or 3 years ago. I met him and got friendly and all. Then I told him, I said, जयलाल जी, मुझे 1 एकड़ जमीन दे दो कि हम यहाँ धान वान उगाएंगे और हम आप पूरे गांव को तब उसके बाद साल में एक बार आके खाना खिलाएंगे as a mark of appreciation, token, whatever. Right? After that, he stopped talking to me. Now I'm asking you why. Because I was asking him for land. As I said, for us, land is our dearest possession. You ask me for anything.
Never ask for land.
Land, forget. And then he was scared because I come from that village. Originally, however many 100 years ago, I will start laying claim. And over here, the difference in land records is that if you have a historical claim, it stands regardless of time. It is not time bound. कि आप चले गए अंडमान काम करने 100 साल बाद आ रहे हैं अभी हम लोग खेती करें तो आपको जमीन क्यों बनेगा doesn't work that way still remains his land right so here land is the most precious commodity okay chali let's go on. They were all being buried. So why the difference?
Because there was someone who was converted.
No, Christians were converted, right? But kyun? We also buried. In our Munda custom, after a person dies, right? You are either, if you are cremated, your ashes are still buried. They're not washed in any river or anything. And otherwise you're buried. Right? Christians also buried. So why can't Christians and the Adi Dharm people be buried together?
Because they are devoted to the different gods. They follow different religions.
Yes. Because Christians require that the ground must be consecrated. Right? And we are deeds. You want your God, you go there. We want our God, we want our system there. Okay? So we'll go ahead now. Of this village of Pahan. Because Pahans are the trees. Okay. Over here is my mother's grave. Over here is my father's grave. Over there is my grandmother's grave. Over here is my grandfather's grave. Okay. Now, my father, when he went to England, converted to Christianity. Okay? Now I will ask you a question. How come those Christians, right, are not allowed to be buried in our Pahan graveyard? Why was my father allowed to be buried in the Pahan graveyard? He was a Christian. Would anyone like to try and answer this? What?
He was converted.
He was converted. Now I'll take you to some other people who converted. They're not allowed to be buried here. So you are partially right. Right? Now what happened was very interesting, which for today's people who are, I'm sorry, I'm being political, please forgive me, right? Who are being divisive. My father, when he had to go to England, and the person who was taking him told him that you have to convert to Christianity. Otherwise you can't go. So he converted. But later on in life, what his feelings and all are not the same. We as his children were never brought up as Christians. Right? My idea of going to church is at Christmas, once a year, and that's it. His wish was, last wish was that he be buried next to his mother, whom he was very fond of. She was a lady who would walk 25 kilometers every Sunday to feed him mutton curry and rice. Now what happened? When we brought the body, what do you call it? Coffin from Delhi, the burial was held up because my chacha was a Pahan. We all, the rest of my family, all Pahan. Even I am a Pahan. Even I do the puja. Wouldn't allow it to be this thing because the Christians want to do the final rites over the graveyard. I mean, over the plot, right, over the grave. They were not allowed to. They were stopped. And after a lot of argument, my family said, he's a Pahan, so you guys get lost. He's not a Christian. Right? The Christian said, he converted to Christianity, so he was a Christian. So how can you bury him without being blessed, otherwise your soul will rot in hell? Right? That's a Christian belief. How many of you are Christians? So you will understand partially what I'm saying. So you know what the compromise was reached? We go to our local church, the parish priest was allowed to do the last rites according to the Christian tradition. He said the prayers, he did everything, and then they were all asked to leave. After he left, and there was quite a few of them, left, then the Pahans took over. And they conducted the Pahanai rites before finally burying him. Which is why he's buried there. Which is why even today my brother died in August. He's not buried in the Christian, and if you'd asked him what religion he was, I don't think he knew, but he would probably have said if he had to choose that he was a Christian. And I'll tell you a very interesting thing. When he was staying at church, this thing, because he wasn't very well, they were looking after him. There was a cross on top of the coffin. Right? So when I brought him from Ranchi to the village, and over here when they were doing the last rite, before they took him, because this graveyard, as you can see, is full, put the cross off the top of the coffin. That is all. Right? Now this is I don't know what you call it, conflict or accommodation. Right? Which happened. So he's over there, his Christian rites are done, and then his Pahanai rites also done. Otherwise, everyone else here, they're all Pahan. In fact, right now I'm trying to get families to identify where their ancestors are buried. I know that I was trying to point out Uday Pahan, right? His family are basically on this side of this graveyard. But the other three brothers, we are not able to identify because there are graves here which come from the neighboring village as well, Hatudami. Pahans from there have also been buried here. Right? So this is the story of a Pahanai graveyard. And there has been a lot of conflict recently on this issue. If a person has converted, how can he be buried in a Pahanai graveyard? Now this friction has been created by people who know the church. Of course, now they built a new church over here.
This is very recent.
This is, I think, what, 5 or 6 years old. Right? Now, the idea of bringing you all here was to see the historical perspective and to realize the social implications that then took place. Right? Now, if you come here, you can imagine under what conditions these people came and lived here. Right? At that time, no communication, no road network, nothing. Right? Okay, I'm not going to say more because when you have a question answer, it will carry on and I'll give you answers then. What I call Adi Dharm, which was actually called at one time, was called, I've forgotten it'll come back to me, but which has now been decided that is derogatory, so they don't use it. Major festival is coming up is Sarul. Right? I think just what everyone has heard about it. It is the new year for us, based on I would say an agricultural calendar, because it's when the sal tree blooms and the flowers come out. And we have a very good system. We are such nice, hospitable people that no two villages will celebrate Sarul on the same day. If I celebrate it Monday, my neighboring village will celebrate Tuesday, the other one on Wednesday and all. And can anyone give me a reason why?
So that everybody can celebrate it together.
Exactly. Go one place to other, get rollingly drunk, have a good time. So here, during that Sarul period, if you want anyone to come and work, forget it. They're all doing Mehmani, which is we're going to a neighboring village, we're going to a relative living over there, whatever, celebrating Sarul. Okay. Now you'll be told about the puja later. We are bloodthirsty. No puja of ours is complete without sacrificing blood. And it's on your economic status. If you can afford it, you will sacrifice a khasi, which is a castrated goat, otherwise a murga. And it has to be a colored murga. Normally the feathers have to be those brown, reddish, these things. Okay?
White for female.
There's only one, white. Otherwise the same. And now, I'll, on a light-hearted vein, during Sarul, actually the idea of the prayer is that the village is protected for the next year against the vagaries of nature. And we sacrifice to all the bongas. Bongas are the god or the spirit. Right? Singh Bonga is the supreme and the less supreme bongas. So last time I was here, we sacrificed 8 chickens, murgas. So I asked him, why so many? ये पूजा कर रहे हो तो इतना, you know, जैसे नहीं सबका करना है, उस खेत का करना है, वहाँ नदी का करना है, उस पहाड़ का करना है, and they went on. Now here come, because I'm a cynic, right? Now we will sacrifice the murgas. The wives will cook it. Who's that lady gone who was talking about women's rights?
I was there.
Right? The women are not allowed to eat it.
What?
You can ask this later on. I'm throwing all these questions. I'm telling you this thing. Right? So I said it's nothing. It's just, it's a simple thing, is that I think the bloody pawns are greedy. They want to hog all the meat. They don't want to give it to their wives even. Right? And you'll learn about the thing. You'll have a bit of hania, which is central to all religious form of prayer, sacrifice, puja, whatever you want to call it. Okay? So this is the Sarna, where we come once a year to do the Sarul Puja. Then we have Karam Puja, we have Devi Puja. That is actually, I should have pointed out to you before, when you left the house, on the right hand side, there was where we do the Devi Puja, where you had lunch. And I made a mistake, but it's over there. You can see it on your way out. I will stop talking. So let's walk to front.